have one is you're going to take your IFF, right? On this IFF, it has a white line. There will be a white line that lines up on your grip stock handle. Line those two up, or knuckles out, and insert it into the bottom of your grip stock, okay? If you don't have one, this step is just skipped, okay? So, this right here now readies that weapon system for firing. You are ready to go through and conduct an engagement, all right? First things first, when you go through and you're getting ready to conduct your engagement, right? You're gonna track an aircraft. You're gonna get into what we call the stinger stance. The stinger stance is gonna be your left foot forward and your right foot back. All right, this gives you a good, sturdy, steady base because this missile weighs how much? 36.1 pounds, right? So when this missile goes from 36.1 pounds on your shoulder to when you fire it to about 4 pounds, right? That weight loss, that weight difference could potentially throw you off balance, right? And we don't want that to happen. We don't want you to fall over or anything like that. So whenever we're going through and we're doing our target engagement, right? We're gonna make sure that our left foot forward, right foot back, and we'll go through and have our stable base, right? Next, now we're gonna go through and track our target. We're gonna start our engagement. So, first things first, right? On the back of your grip stock here, what is this? It's your IFF button, right? That sends out your IFF signal, right? When you get your response back, what are my 3 responses? Friendly, possible, and unknown, right? All right, so we get back one of those responses. Next thing we're gonna do, we've identified that that is a hostile target, right? So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna place our target in our range ring, in the front part of our sight assembly here, okay? Place that target in your range ring, IFF that target, and then from there you're gonna go through and you're gonna activate. What is this right here? Safety and actuator, right? This is that 3-position switch in which you have to push in, rotate out, and press down until you hear that metallic click, and it activates what? VCU. The VCU, okay? So, we've activated our missile. Give it a good solid second or two to allow all that power and that argon to enter into the missile tube, right? Cool down that seeker head, as well as provide power to that missile, okay? And then from there, now you're going to start to hear a solid, steady tone, all right? So what will end up happening then is you're going to place your target in that range ring and you're going to find that heat source, all right? That heat source is going to start to get really loud in your ear as you are finding it, all right? Once you have that solid, you're up on your shoulder, you have your target in your range ring, you've got your solid heat source. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to grab and you're going to press and hold your uncage button. Okay? You're going to press and hold your uncage button. From that point right there, now what you've done is you've locked that missile onto that heat source. Okay? From there, you're going to go through and apply your super elevation and your lead. All right? You guys have already kind of talked over a little bit when it comes to super elevation and lead. So if you have a helicopter, your helicopter is going to go in your center reticle. If you have jets, they're going to go in either your left or your right reticle. Okay, so for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to say that we have one of these aircraft right over here on the side of the wall, right? I'm going to place that aircraft in my range ring. I've IFF'd it, I activate my missile, I've got my tone, I've got my heat source, I press and hold my uncage to lock that heat source onto my target. From that point there, I'm going to super elevate and I'm going to transfer that target from my range ring here in the front to my super elevation and lead reticles here in the back. right? And what that's doing is that's elevating that missile, because what happens when the missile is fired?
Push out 28 feet.
Pushes out 28 feet, right? And during that 28 feet, what happens?
You drop.
The missile drops, right, due to gravity. So we have to super elevate this missile to account for that missile drop, right? So now I've got my target, I've super elevated, I've got my target in my proper lead reticle, and then I go through and I press and hold that firing trigger for at least 3 to 5 seconds. At least 3 to 5 seconds. From that point, once that missile is away, you then go through and do what? Take out the BCU, right? Because this thing is going to start to heat up, and we don't want to damage what?
Grip stop.
Grip stop. That's right. So, once you're done with that, what can you do? Can you reuse this launch tube?
No.
Absolutely not, right? Because it's just made of wound fiberglass. If you're not on a range and have to turn it back in, what would you do with it? Destroy it. Very good, right? But that right there is how you go through and fire the Stinger missile. Okay, any questions so far? We good? All right. Going through, does anybody have, what did we go over this morning? Target engagement, right? We went through and we learned how to actually set this missile up, prepare it for firing, and then we learned how to actually go through the firing sequence, right? Does anybody have any questions? What you got?
Sir, so pretty much you said once you get like the target right there and like the range reticle right there, you're gonna transfer it to like the mirror reticle.
Yep.
So like you pretty much said like helicopters going to center range, right?
Correct.
And like jets, you're gonna go in like either like left, right?
Left or right, depending upon which direction that it's coming from.
Okay.
Right? So for jets, I'll get you in just a second. So for jets, if the aircraft is coming from the left, right, and it's moving from left to right, you're going to place that target in your left lead reticle, right? One of the ways that I've always remembered it is whatever direction it's coming from, that is the lead reticle in which you put it in, all right? So if it's coming from left to right, you're going to put it in the left. If it's coming from right to left, you'll put it in the right. And if it's coming directly inbound or outbound, where do you think it goes?
Center.
In the center, okay? Helicopters always go in the center reticle, okay? Helicopters will always go in the center reticle. Because of the updates and stuff like that to these missiles, they no longer have to go through and have that lead because of the guidance and all that other sort of stuff, right? So your helicopters will always go in the center reticle. All right? What you got? Or hold on, you had a question. What you got?
So with the range rings and then going into the rear sight reticle, I know you start off with the range ring, but do you also look through the range ring when you go into the rear sight reticle?
No. So it is physically impossible to keep that target in that range ring and put it in the super elevation and lead reticles at the same time, right? So you're gonna transfer it from that range